Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavatir Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, text number 20. Soham Rupendra Rahita Purushottamena Sakhya Priyena Sukrida Hrudayena Shunya Advanyarukrama Parigraham Angarakshan Gopair Asadvir Abaleva Vinirjitosmi Soham Rupendra Rahita Purushottamena Sakhya Priyena Sukrida Hrudayena Shunya Advanyurukrama Parigraham Angarakshan Gopair Asadvir Abaleva Vinirjitosmi. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So we're reading the synonyms now. Shah, that, Aham, myself, Drupa Indra, our emperor. Rahita, bereft. Purusha Uttama, by the Supreme Lord. Sakhya, by my friend. Priyena, by my dearmost. Suhrida, by the well-wisher. Hridayena, by the heart and soul. Shunya, vacant. Advani, recently. Urukrama Parigraham, the wives of the all-powerful. Anga, bodies. Rakshan, while protecting. Gopal, by the cowheads. Asaddi, by the infidels. Abala Iva, like a weak woman. Vinirjitasmi, I have been defeated. The translation purport by His Divine Grace of Charanaranda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation, O Emperor, now I am separated from my friend and dearmost well-wisher, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore my heart appears to be void of everything. In his absence, I have been defeated by a number of infidel cowherd men while I was guarding the bodies of all wives of Krishna. Purport. The important point in this verse is now how it was possible that Arjuna could be defeated by a gang of ignoble cowherd men, and how such mundane cowherd men could touch the bodies of the wives of Lord Krishna, who were under the protection of Arjuna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has justified the contradiction by research in the Vishnu Purana and Brahma Purana. In these Puranas, it is said that once the fair denizens of heaven teased Astavakra Muni by their service and were blessed by the Muni to have the Supreme Lord as their husband. Later, the girls again satisfied the Muni by their prayers, and the Muni blessed them that they would regain their husband even after being robbed by the rogues. So, in order to keep the words of the great Muni, the Lord himself kidnapped his wives from the protection of Arjuna. Otherwise, they would have at once vanished from the scene as soon as they were touched by the rogues. Besides that, some of the gopis who prayed to become wives of Lord returned to their respective positions after their desire was fulfilled. After the departure of Lord Krishna, he wanted all his entourage back to Godhead, and they were called back under different conditions only. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanam Janasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyacha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So for the past few days, all these wonderful devotees have been speaking on this wonderful subject matter. The Brahma, this is the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Paramahamsa Samhita. So in this translation, I'll just read once again. O Emperor, now I am separated from my friend and the dear most well-wisher, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore my heart appears to be void of everything. In his absence, I have been defeated by a number of infidel coward men while I was guarding the bodies of all the wives of Krishna. Here the context is, as we all know, that Arjuna had been to Dwaraka for almost some 6 to 7 months. He was with the Supreme Personality of Godhead residing there. And after that, it's quite a long time passed, and then he was not returning home. And then in the meanwhile, the Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Bhimsen, they just see so many inauspicious elements. So all these things, they were contemplating on all these aspects. And Arjun arrives, and then he just speaks these words to Yudhishthira Maharaj. See, whatever that we just not even a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is, we all know that. But ahankara vimodhatmakattaham iti manyati. By the false ego, we think I am the doer, and then there are some people we just claim. Of course, majority of in the age of the Kali, we have so many people say, yes, I am the self-made man. I have done this, I have done that, I have achieved this, and so many kind of their achievements, they just pour out just like that. That's just because of the false ego. Even to, after we sleep in the night and to get up in the morning, we need some demigod just to make us remember who am I, or who are we, what is our, okay, Dhananjaya Pandita, you please get up. And the moment, okay, I know I have been given the intelligence, I am so and so, I'm the priest here, and I have some duties to perform, that go, then complete your ablutions and get ready to just serve the deities and so on and so forth. Everything, all these intelligence is given by the demigods. There are certain demigods responsible for all these aspects. It's not that I am a capable self-made person and I can do anything and everything. All that. Here we are seeing Arjun, he's so a wonderful devotee of Krishna, and all that he remembers what all the aspects, that what all the battle of Kurukshetra, how great generals fought in that battlefield. How was it possible for Arjuna, just mighty warrior though, but then in front of Bhishma, who has the boon to just know he will only be dying by his own will. So who can such a great warrior who defeated his spiritual master even? Yeah, that is the personality that was. So in these aspects that we understand, great people will, and the devotees of Supreme Personality of Godhead would not be puffed up with all their knowledge, what so-called knowledge or their achievements, would never say. That is with their kind of, it is just by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna and Guru, or the Vaishnavas, their blessings only we could achieve anything. Whatever we are today, whatever is possible, it's all the blessings of the Vaishnavas and Guru and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is all we have. When we please, that is, we just sing every day in the Mangalarati, Yasya Prasada Bhagavad Prasada, Vishya Prasadana Gati Kutoki. By the mercy of Krishna, you get Guru. By the mercy of Guru, you get Krishna. These are the things we keep singing every day. So when one understands the insignificant nature of the individual soul, the super soul which is within, keeping us always progressing ahead in the self-realization. That is that Srila Prabhupada some number of times quoted. And also it is said like the witnessing bird, there are two birds sitting on the branch of the tree. One is eating those flowers, fruits, whatever it is that is on, and the other one is just witnessing this other bird. There are two friends, right? Two birds sitting on the branch of the tree. So one understands this, the factor, and then he would never be puffed up. And here Arjun is just saying that I am the same Arjuna. I have the same bow Gandiva, my Gandiva, which is a very powerful Gandiva weapon that I have. I have the same arrows. But how is that? I was just defeated, simply defeated by the infidels, the cowherd man, by coming from Dwaraka with the queens of Krishna to the Hastinapur. So this is what he keeps on remembering again and again the incidents that while the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna was present on the planet, how he fought the battle of Kurukshetra with such mighty warriors like Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and Bhurisha, all these so many personalities who are invincible, who cannot be defeated under any circumstances. So it is all the Supreme Personality of God. We know that this, when just before the war began, this Duryodhana and Arjuna both go to Lord Krishna just for asking help. So similarly, Arjuna was given the chance, then I have myself one side. I would not lift a weapon. I'll be just there as myself. But the other side is my Narayani Sena. So what is that your choice? You can just choose because you're the younger than Duryodhana. Then Duryodhana feels, oh my God, is just really here also is just trying to be some kind of favoritism to Arjun. He is giving the opportunity to Arjun and he would take the army. But then Arjun, as a real friend and well-wisher, as Krishna is being that, he understands it is he, I would just choose that he chooses Krishna. I want you. Then other side, all this Duryodhana thinks that oh, he's a fool number one. He has given such a big army, and Narayana said, he is not choosing. What was the use of Krishna? He would just like stand like a stooge there on his chariot. What's the point in choosing? He is such a fool number one that he thinks. But he doesn't know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Wherever he is, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Pardo Dhanuddara, there the victory and Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, will always be there. This is the ideology of the devotees and non-devotees. When Arjuna is such a wonderful devotee of Krishna, he understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead presence is most important than having all this Narayana Sena, what Narayana Sena could do. So this is one after another, like we have here in this aspect, that with a grateful heart, Maharani Kunti, she points out, my Lord, just give us the difficulties, send us all sorts of calamities again and again and again. So because during the calamities you are with us, my Lord, we remember you. You are so dear to us, and during the calamities, that's the best opportunity for us to remember you. And similarly, we devotees have a wonderful opportunity to just remember Supreme Personality of God at all times. But either in calamities or even in pleasure and pain. So all the situations, it is our training, we must train ourselves to remember Supreme Personality of God. They say in Hindi, there is something like I keep hearing people, sote, jagte, baithte, uthte, khate, peete, means you eating and drinking, and then as we Krishna said, aham rasoham apsakaunte, prabhasmi sasashurya. He just gives, I am the taste of the water. So when we're drinking water, it's an opportunity for us to thank Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, for giving us this water, my Lord. You have provided this. So similarly, while eating, we say our prayers before we honor Mahaprasada. So these are all the things, the style or the function of the devotee that we remember Supreme Personality of Godhead every day, in every second, every step we just take that. So this is that lifestyle that we just cultivate in day-to-day affairs. It is easy to remember 24/7 that Srila Prabhupada says, you just make these practices as your life and soul. You would even dream Krishna. You just see Krishna in your dreams, or you see some spiritual practices being going on, or some these discourses going on, and you are part of that, and you're going meeting devotees, these sort of things, that 24/7 there is an opportunity for us to remember Krishna. There is no doubt. When we go on with the practices or given by our spiritual masters, when we strictly adhere to the practices, follow the regulative principles, chant Hare Krishna mantra at least 16 rounds a day, follow Ekadasi, Prabhupada said, I would take you back home, back to Godhead. There is no doubt of this. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is so kind to us, having been uh, given to these the Gita, Bhagavatam, and all these wonderful scriptures. And here, one more thing I would just say that well-wisher. Srila Prabhupada used to write a sign after he writes a letter to his disciples, just pure, ever well-wisher. Simply, I remember, I was just writing somebody, of course, a friend and things like that, of course, after the computerization and we used emails and these things like that, it's different. Those postal man, that are like that mailman. Well, we used to look for that, in the olden days when there was not this computer and these messaging things like that. So that used to be that, and I used to just write even some people who are just not friends. We write, okay, your friend and yours, the like whatever the relation that we have with that individual, we would write. But then some people we just write. I used to write specifically your Sreyo Balashi. In Telugu, just we say your well-wisher is that Sreyo Balashi. So that is what it is. But then how I could be the Sreyo Balashi or a well-wisher of that person? Here, Krishna is, Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, that is befitting to Srila Prabhupada to write that, because at the time when in the beginning days, in the early 60s, when these disciples, like specifically the Hayagriva Prabhu and then Aniruddha Prabhu, these two incidents I could just, because when His Grace Harishwari Prabhu was sharing the memories of Srila Prabhupada, I heard these. When these two just they went out of the moment and they're somewhere else existing. And then Srila Prabhupada kept on inquiring about this. And then once I heard that Hayagriva Prabhu was in Goa beaches somewhere around, and then Prabhupada even sent his disciples to just find him out. And then sometime back, he just came back, and Aniruddha Prabhu also met him in Hawaii, all these places when they were just coming back to Srila Prabhupada. He so affectionately just talked to them, did not say anything about their fall down or whatever it is. And they were really fully grown beard and hair and everything like that. But he did not talk anything about that. He just like a father, affectionate father. He just nurtured them and then talked to them so wonderfully, just patting and rubbing their heads. Can we imagine that? We can just do that. I can be a well-wisher of anyone just like that. Only that's on my Hippocratic way of saying or doing, writing things like that. I myself feel that now when I see what a real well-wisher is. Prabhupada is a real well-wisher. He meant in all his words and deeds. That's how we can just understand the wonderful spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, established the worldwide movement this way. He could only be the well-wisher. I can't just be a stupid of myself. I made a stupid of myself just writing that. I feel now, because I know what a well-wisher is. Now I could understand it to a certain extent. I can just say fully I understood that. That's what is the spiritual master, and he is really well-wisher of it. And also Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Jnatnamam Shantim Richati. That is what is the Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, is not only the human being, every 8,400,000 species. He is a well-wisher. He is a benefactor. He is all sorts of things that what he does for us. He sends the spiritual master. He sends the wonderful devotees by whom we get inspired. And this is the nature of this well-wisher, what we call it as. And coming back to this, here we have the another mention of this detachment. Okay. The contradiction here, who were under the protection of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had justified the contradiction by research in the Vishnu Purana and Brahma Purana. In these Puranas, it is said that once the fair is okay, this is what he's saying is Astavakra Muni was, okay, Astavakra Muni, the mention of Astavakra Muni, we just, I think if time permits, we'll discuss something about it. How many minutes do we have? More 30 minutes, right? 10 minutes, right? Am I right, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, okay. So this Astavakra Muni is a very famous personality. We heard about Trivakra in Krishna Lila, like bend 3 places, curved in 3 places. So this Astavakra is a great sage, lived in, of course, the century and things. This is not known the time span, but almost we can understand during Maharaja Janak's or his system, because it is mentioned that he walked into the Janak's assembly, because hearing that Janak Maharaj has, of course, Janaka is the title of anyone who ascended the throne of Videha. Like that's how Vaidehi, Sita, Mother Sita's name is Vaidehi also. Videha is a kingdom, and that kingdom, whoever ruled is known as Janak. Janak. So, but then actual father of God, Mother Sita is Shiradvaj, is her name, the Janak that time during he was ruling, Janaka was ruling, Janaka, his real name is Shiradvaj, who was the father of Mother Sita. So hearing that he has a wonderful assembly, the great personalities, that all renowned sages and his poets who are well versed with the Vedic knowledge, he walks into the assembly of Janak. Because he is defected or curved in 8 places, he walks in a particular manner. This is what here it has been said that denizens of heaven, having seen him bent in 8 places, they could not control their laughter. So they just laugh, and then Muni, getting angry, curses them the way this we hear in this, you be kidnapped by rogues. And after that, they nicely served him, and by that he was pleased. That great sage Astavakra Muni pleased with them, and he said, though you be stolen by the rogues, kidnapped by the rogues, you will be joining your husband back. They will be relieved. You will be joining your husbands back after that. That's what he gets after having been pleased by those things. Actually, this again, we have some information about the Astavakra Muni. Astavakra's father was Kadoha and his mother was Sujata. Kadoha was a great sage actually, and he was just performing his tapasya and writing many literatures and things like that. And he has many disciples. When one day, when Astavakra Muni was in a mother's womb, his father was just reciting these verses from the Vedic verses. And in the womb of the mother, Astavakra Muni, in the womb of his mother, he finds out the 8 mistakes of his father, that is intonation, so improper intonation. He just finds out that, and he just speaks out in front of the disciples, his father's disciples, Kapoda. Having heard this, you being in the womb, you're so powerful, and you're just finding out the father's mistakes like this, you be born with just the moment he takes out water from his kamandalu, his mother Sujata faints. She just faints, and then he curses, you be born with 8 defects. So that is the reason how he was born with 8 defects. So that's why he is known as Astavakra Muni. So though he was born with 8 defects, but then he is such, the scholarly wisdom is so powerful that he used to just be, very so comprehensive in all his Vedic literatures, in his debates, and used to be just very, very well versed with that. That's why, and when he hearing that, And there is again another episode. It's a long one that we're not going in details of that. And of course, that in a short, just how could we just say his father, when he goes to because he is a very poor man, and he goes to the Janaka's assembly to get some favor from that, and then he was defeated by one of the sages there in that Janaka's assembly, and then he was just then made to just take submerge into the water. So thus he does that was his practice. It was going on. Whomever he defeats, he just then they have to take the dip into the water, and then that's how they have to just be getting rid of the bodies. That sort of the thing what is what thought of. But when hearing all this, the story of his father, then he goes to the Janaka's assembly. Then in the assembly, the moment when they see the sage, they saw this sage, they just laugh because they were uncontrollable by seeing this just a physical posture. Then they laugh. Then he says, "Oh, Janak, Shiradwaj, I heard of a great assembly of ministers, but you all have cobblers. Why cobblers? Because the skin thing is that is dealt with, the cobblers deal with the skin. So that is why he said you see the external skin, but not this side of. So you have all cobblers. I was just told that you have so wonderful assembly of ministers, but these all are cobblers, not more than a cobbler, all of you have." And then he defeats that same person who actually defeated his father in the debate. Then he just says, "Okay, this is what it is. Now you go." In the sense means the sage who defeated all these other sages that who was defeating and taking these, making them to submerge into the water. His father, that sage who defeated all this, his father was carrying out a great sacrifice. So he needed so many number of sages. So that's why all these were put into these jealous samadhi kind of thing. They were just actually not dying there. Whoever going into that, they were just meditating. So they all come out and then they perform this sacrifice. That was what is just known the factor that he does. Gets his father back to his hermitage. Thus he satisfies his mother Sujata also. These were certain known facts about the Astavakra Muni. But then besides of his the physical deformities, he used to be very wonderful personality, and his other sages or his friends, they used to ask, "How can you maintain this kind of equilibrium?" He said, "See, this is the body is the physical. That's now we just have this, our body. It's not that we are not the bodies. We are the spirit souls. When we understand this aspect, that's how Astavakra Muni sends the message like this. It's not the body with all these physical deformities, whatever it is, but that's not the body. That is what we have to do with. We have to do with the mind. That we have to just control the mind and perform our activities, the spiritual activities, and then try progressing towards the self-realization, the thought realization." And that is what it is. That Astavakra Muni is really something very fantastic personality from whom we have to learn that physical defects or physical deformities or whatever the incapacities that we have, physical infirmity in the infidelities doesn't come in our way of progression towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is what we have to be understanding. This is a very wonderful message. And I think it is 7:29 on the computer I see. Is that okay? Then we stop here and we leave for any discussions, questions, comments, or anything like that. Is it okay, Lingaraj Prabhu and others? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Is it okay? Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought you could. Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. That's
Yes. Okay. Anybody has any questions, comments, corrections? Please, we welcome them. And if there are no comments, questions, and Lingaraj Prabhu, we can wind up.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
And from
Um, Prabhuji, in the beginning you said that ahankara vimudatma kartarum
Iti
manyate.
Yes.
So that doership is with, in spite of knowing that Krishna is there, not even a blade of grass will move without anything, without Krishna's sanction. I'm not telling that, I'm doer, say suppose I'm not doer, but still, if you don't do it, then how can Krishna help you? That means I'm doing it, but I'm not telling that I'm doing it. By the grace of Krishna, I'm doing it. But still, subtle level, that doership is there. So I think I had a discussion earlier also. But how do we remain Krishna consciousness, like Krishna conscious? How do you remain in that all the time? Because many devotees like Nirantara, they can remember. I'm not there yet. So
That's very wonderful question. Your question is so wonderful. It is the fact of that, because see, even great sages to the extent that because of that only, that was become their reason for their fall down. So that definitely it is there. But then by constantly chanting the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By doing so, that is only our hope. There is nothing else. Just by Satatam Kirtayanto Mam, Yejana Pariyupasate, Krishna says. So this is only the message that even Srila Prabhupada, see, this gives me some another opportunity to speak. What is called the worldwide institution established by Srila Prabhupada? What do you think this is? It is, we are all in Kumbh Mela. We are all in Kumbh Mela of this material world, and we are lost from our parents that you find in Kumbh Mela. I was there in Millennium Kumbh Mela. It was 2000, the year 2000. I was 40 days in the Kumbh Mela. You may be astonished to see or hear how I was there. That's all a long story. When we meet in person or whoever is interested, I would be able to tell. It takes a long time. Anyway, so in that Kumbh Mela, we hear टिंकू की मम्मी टिंकू यहाँ पर है, आप कहाँ पर है तो आइए, अनाउंसमेंट बूथ में आ जाइए. So this is our ISKCON temples are, this is those, the assembly announcing centers, announcing booths that we are announcing, oh, please come here. This is what it is. That is what Srila Prabhupada established all over the world. That was his, within the span of 12 years, he traveled around the world 14 times. Say this is the same thing, he's just shouting, okay, come here, you are lost and found booth, we are here, please come. Reunion with your parents, here is your father, he is like this. We are describing complete description of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his abode. How does he look like? How his abode is? What are all his companions? What is the mood of the devotees there? All this, the ISKCON centers are doing the same thing. These are all booths announcing lost and found booths. This is what Srila Prabhupada had done. So it is only the hope is just Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Ejana Pariyupasate Tesham Nityavayuktanam Yoga Kshemam Muhamiham. That's what it is. That's what we have to be doing. Then gradually we have a hope of getting rid of this ahamkara vimudatma. That's only the way, that's only the hope. Is that answers your question, probably, to a certain extent?
yeah, I think the Kali Yuga, the medicine is
Yeah.
the holy name.
That's it. That is it.
Sometimes,
See, also, go ahead.
Even chanting, holding the chanting mala also is very difficult. So that's why.
That is there because we have come with a sufficient baggage, baggages. We try, the flight, they say only 23 kgs, but we want about 93 kgs. Definitely that is what that we, and nobody forgets this baggage. This baggage, this in the airport, when you land, you may forget at times. That is rarely happens. But that baggage, the baggage that we have been carrying for the 8,400,000 species, we never forget that. Even if you forget, that will be delivered at your home with their cost, not owner's expense. That will be, vehicles will be towed away with owner's expense. That is not that owner's expense. That will be borne by the airlines. That will be delivered to you intact. That's what the nature of that baggage is. Yes. Any other questions, please?
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Anybody else has any questions? Otherwise, Lingaraj Prabhu, you can wind up the show for the day.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful class.
Thank you.
So one step lower than what Balram Prasad Prabhu asked the question. I mean, the doership mentality
Yeah.
is because of that baggage or conditioning, right, Prabhu? I mean,
Yes.
that how
Yes.
we think, because though we know that Krishna is the, I mean, he's the controller and he's the maintainer, still we think that, I mean, though we know those, we realize it sometimes as well, right? Because Krishna makes us to know that, yeah, we are not the doer, but still we sometimes think.
Yeah, in this regard, I would always tell one thing, Lingaraj Prabhu. I share this, no, because see, we actually don't know. We know means we think we know. That's a problem. When a person really knows his constitutional position, there is not a single chance of committing any sort of these nonsense kind of thoughts or anything. We think we know. That's a problem. We think we know Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We think we know this is a process to attain Him. All that we think, only we think we know that. If we really know that a person who really knows his constitutional position, 100% he would be dedicated to the spiritual practices that was delineated by Srila Prabhupada. There's no doubt of this fact. This is what we think. Yes, I know. This is Mahamantra. This is only the way to deliverance. And this is the means. The ways and means are one and the same. There is no other thing. But we have not got this 100% that confidence. Yes, this is what is ultimate. There's no other way. I have to have this. I have to follow this procedure. When we really understand that, that is 100% fine. We never get any kind of deviation like that. But we only think that this is this. But when we really understand that, it is definitely there are no chances of committing any sort of mistakes. That will not be there.
Yeah, that is
the yes.
Yeah. No, that is at the complete realization phase.
Yes.
I'm talking about sometimes we try to do a lot of things or we don't do, but the things will happen. I mean, of course, beyond our imagination, right? So, I mean, of course, I mean, based on the theoretical knowledge that we have, we know that, yeah, the Lord has done it, right? Not directly by me for sure, because
Yes.
I know those things won't happen if I do it. I mean, from my experience.
Yes.
So the Lord's hand is there. Though
Yes.
we at those phases, right, we know it is the Lord's hand, but otherwise again after next activity, right, yeah, I am doing it.
Yes, that's the main problem. That is because of the false past conditioning that we have. That can't be just washed away with a normal. It needs a complete thorough acid wash. That was once where somebody was mentioning. That needs a total revamping. Complete the system has to be thoroughly washed with the acids. That with that the deep this thing, then only it can go. Otherwise, that greasy effect on this thing and that keeps on accumulating with the degrees, that is difficult to wash away that unless we use that acid. The acid here is the holy name of God, chanting regularly and attentively, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is the acid here, what we need to use it for getting rid of all sorts of contamination. It is as powerful as God Himself. There is no difference between the holy name and God Himself. So it's one and the same. So we can, when we have that thorough confidence in that and the strict practices of these regulatory principles, the way we go ahead, then absolutely no doubt, because if we have seen with our own eyes, people who have just made that kind of advancement in their own lives and then achieved that perfection. So Srila Prabhupada disciples, everyone just know that we have even seen in the past that we heard such wonderful things like that. So these are devotees who have been in that way. They lived the life of that sort of the life that was prescribed by Srila Prabhupada, and they attained their perfection.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhus. I was thinking Even the blood flow is not proper. There is a blockage in the blood flow. So how can you clean our heart, Prabhu?
So see, that is everything. That is the panacea for all arts of the holy name. That is definite. We can just, if you write in the bold letters there and they keep seeing that, you will see while you are asleep also. The Hare Krishna mantra. That is only all that is, all, that's everything. Everything is that. But the conditioning life and that we have so many circumstances that we encounter with all that. But that is only the thing. We have that asset. Yeah, this is insight for us. So this is what I have to be, no matter what. By divine providence, whatever is that. But then see then. And when the other day we were discussing about, when you remember Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, most difficult things will become just easy. When you forget him, most easiest things will become so difficult, Herculean tasks, which we can't just under any circumstances can perform that. So this is a magic wand like that, just remember Krishna. That's it. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. That is only the thing. We have to make it a practice. Just make it a practice, constantly chanting the holy name. The other day I was hearing, there was something recording and during Srila Prabhupada's times, and there was something, all these recorders, they complete the studio, those people came, everything, they set up everything, and they were just saying some kind of, hissing, or not hissing, some kind of the background noise they're hearing. They were trying to figure out where it is coming, everything, they just checked, everything was perfectly placed, everything was fine. But Srila Prabhupada, while he was sitting there for that, he was chanting constantly, but nobody could make out that he was just chanting. That is a pure soul, the devotee of the Lord, always experiencing the presence of Krishna. That's what he said. I was never bereft of my spiritual master's presence. He was always having the presence of the spiritual master, his divine grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Similarly, he was experiencing Krishna all the time. So then they found it, the recording team found, this was the Swamiji chanting the holy name. See, this is what it is. When we can just think, make practice of such kind of things in our day-to-day lives, there is definitely hope. It is not just something just like that. This ISKCON movement is a hope giving for everyone, even a beginner or anybody for that matter. We hear so many stories from all over the globe, their day-to-day, we hear such wonderful things, inspirational stories. Those are all, it's not just concocted, they're real happenings in their lives. They just share those experiences. Those are all hope-giving to us. We just, when we can practice and adhere to those principles and then go ahead with that, there's absolutely no problem. One day there is not. And also, if at all due to my nonsensical behavior, whatever it is, if I'm not able to make out, then Krishna says that there is no loss of diminution in that. You would be given another chance to be taken birth in the affluent families or in the Brahmana, the 5 families. He says in Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. By your association, I think we'll all get some glimpse like that.
Thank you very much for your wonderful. You are of course, I must say that there is Saturday means, I think right from the day you started, excepting one occasion that while you traveled to India, but no matter what you traveled here locally, that is all different. Saturday means there is Balaram Prasad Prabhu who is serving the deities. That is something very, very, I really feel that Ekeha Kurunandana. Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi Ekeha Kurunandana. That is what it is. You never, even I told Prabhu when you're going to Urbana Champagne for some reason that is, what is it, Pradyumna's case. Then I said, you take rest, I will do it. No, Prabhu. Don't take away my service. That's what I really feel. That becomes a very good, wonderful inspiration for me. It's really very, very good. I mean, that you are staunch in that, whenever there is something just given, in that particular service, you never abandon for whatsoever the reason is. My God. It's for these long years, at least 4 or 5 years, you have been doing this. Amazing. Thank you so much for that.
All your inspiration, Prabhu, and glorification. I'm doing for your glorification.
This is what it is. We have now, in the absence of Krishna, somebody would ask, okay, Krishna was there for Arjuna to just guide him, and he spoke Bhagavad Gita, all that. So even in this instance, particular instance also, what made Arjuna to regain his things? This composer back to his original consciousness, he remembered the instructions that were spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead amidst battlefield of Kurukshetra. That is what it is. He gained his normal situation. He come back to the normal position. That is what it is. So this is all we are here to inspire each other rightly in the right manner and get the inspiration. Such wonderful souls, we have wonderful devotees. So with all this, no, this is only our fact, because when we are surrounded by this, and this, because Maya, as I always said, Maya is an cruise excursion. What is that? Excursion. It is gone on it because the Kali Yuga people just I don't need to do anything. So it has its agents all over spread, no problem. We ourselves, I mean, they themselves will automatically get involved in those so many factors. What me worry? I'm so happy. And a cruise excursion. That's it. That is what Maya is on doing this. It doesn't do anything because it's all jolly trip. Because I have nothing to do. Whatever I have done is enough. Now these people are so much absorbed in their own things. They create their own Maya. They will only say Maya, Maya, but they are only in Maya. I am not doing anything. They are creating their own Maya. This is the current situation I'm telling you. Haribol, is somebody there? Hare
Can you hear
Krishna?
us? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Anybody, anything else? Otherwise, we will wind up. I think it's 7:46. Ringaraju Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, yeah.
So I think we can close now for the day.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Panchakalpatarubhya kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.